of Worship, your source for commentary and discussion on worship, theology, and culture. I'm your host, Dr. Jonathan Michael Jones. Hello and welcome to the Act of Worship podcast. This is Dr. Jonathan Michael Jones. Thank you for joining me today as we are continuing through this Psalm project. We are nearing a place where we have 20 Psalms to go. We are here today in Psalm 128. And so we have 6 more songs of ascent to go after this. And then we will be finished with that section and on to the final 16 Psalms of the book. So it is winding down here in Book 5. Psalm 128, not attributed to any particular author. The theme is the blessing for those who fear the Lord. Let me read for you, I don't have much of an introduction on it, but let me read for you the very brief 6 verses of Psalm 128 and then get into my commentary. Blessed is everyone who fears the Lord, who walks in his ways. You shall eat the fruit of the labor of your hands. You shall be blessed, and it shall be well with you. Your wife will be like a fruitful vine within your house. Your children will be like olive shoots around your table. Behold, thus shall the man be blessed who fears the Lord. The Lord bless you from Zion. May you see the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life. May you see your children's children. Peace be upon Israel. So let's look at a few things in this psalm. As I mentioned, these songs of ascent are relatively short, so the settings will be short. The commentary will usually be short, but there's great information, great perspective from these psalms. Verse 1, blessed is everyone who fears the Lord. I've discussed fear before. And there are those that would say that only means a respect for God, and that would be false. This does mean a literal fear of the Lord. When you fear something, there is also respect. Think about this. Fear often spawns respect. Now, that does not mean an unhealthy fear. That does not mean that you are afraid that because someone wants to treat you badly. They want to treat you with anonymity. They want to hurt you. Certainly, you would be afraid of someone who wanted to do that, especially if they were more powerful than you. But there's a difference in that and fearing someone, understanding that their power could do that, but understanding also that they will not because they love you. And so there's a healthy fear there. In verse 1, unless the Lord builds the house, blessed, I skipped over to I went back to 127, or in 128. Blessed is everyone who fears the Lord, who walks in his ways. That is, those who obey God's will for their lives as manifested in his law, the Bible. Verse 2, you shall eat the fruit of the labor of your hands. You shall be blessed, and it shall be well with you. The labor of your hands. One result of the fall was that Adam would have to work hard to get his food on the table. That's in Genesis 3. And the messenger of Ecclesiastes, song of as many scholars would say, that certainly would be Solomon, and that's what I believe. Solomon was driven to despair because some people labored while others who were less deserving enjoyed the benefits of their labor, the people who labored. You see that in Ecclesiastes 5 and 6. And there are those that might use this type of idea to come down on capitalism. That is not what I'm doing. I firmly believe capitalism is a good thing. But there certainly are those in every society, not just a capitalist society, in every society who undeservedly reap the rewards and the benefits from the work of others. Scripture says that the rain falls on the just and the unjust. You may have heard somebody when you were a little child and you told your parents, well, that's not fair, and they might have said, well, life's not fair. And there's some truth to that. Life is not fair. We live in a fallen world. But the labor of your hands, what the psalmist is saying here, that one who fears the Lord, when he labors, he will be blessed with what he produces. And so the psalmist envisions the righteous prospering from their own labor. This is a just situation, and God is a just God. Verse 3, your wife will be like a fruitful vine. The vine produced the grapes for wine, and this was a source of joy to the Israelites. I'm reminded of Psalm 104:15, wine to gladden the heart of man. So in this context, it is speaking of it as a good thing. The blessing that the fruitful wife brings includes children around the table. Your children will be like olive shoots. Verse 3. Olives and olive oil were valued, and they were staple commodities in the life of Israel. Verse 5. The Lord bless you from Zion, and that is from the temple. This is, keep in mind, these psalms were intended to be sung on the way to the temple to worship the Lord. And so here, the people of Israel can see in the near future that they will be as they're making their pilgrimage, they will be in Jerusalem worshiping God at the temple. And then in verse 6, may you see your children's children. Long life and large families were a blessing in ancient Israel, particularly in light of the Abrahamic covenant in Genesis 12. And quite different from today. We live in a society that, doesn't value the lives of children. And it says in verse 6, peace be upon Israel. Similar to Psalm 122, verse 6, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. This is the well-known Hebrew term shalom, which denotes wholeness and health. And so this is related to the entire person. And so the psalmist asks that peace, shalom, be upon Israel. This is a short setting, 2 stanzas really, and a very short setting, but encapsulates this prayer, this psalm, in a very wonderful way. So here is Psalm 128 set to music. Thank you for listening today to the Act of Worship podcast. This is Dr. Jonathan Michael Jones.
Blessed are all who fear the Lord's name and who walk within His ways. When you eat of your hands' labor, you'll be blessed throughout your days. In your house, your wife will prosper like a vine whose fruits abound, and like olive plants, your children at your table gather round. So the man who fears the Lord shall in this way great blessing know. May the Lord from out of Zion blessings rich on you bestow. May you see Jerusalem Jerusalem prosper all your days until they cease. May you see your children's children on all Israel.